Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Gamer, and we are returning to Hearts of Iron 4 Man the Guns, trying to find out whether the Japanese Navy will actually be any good with torpedoes. And we're just coming out of a very big fight down here just by Guam. We were facing the American forces and we took a great victory actually, although with some particular notices. So that has been mostly the Battle of Guam, the second Battle of Guam, where we sunk an American carrier, 2 American battleships, 7 American cruisers, and a whopping nearly 50 American destroyers. We did so at the cost of 2 battleships, or 1 battleship and a battle cruiser I should say, a cruiser, heavy cruiser, and 7 destroyers. So all in all, a great victory, and I've no doubt that it's a great victory, but it does come at a severe cost of 2 heavy ships. We only have about 8 battleship or heavy ships now, and 2 of them are heavily outdated and very, very slow. So it's good. It's really good. Don't get me wrong, but it is also a loss. And the reason why I say it's a loss is because if we look at the Americans, they do have an estimated 60 to 70, let's call it 70 naval dockyards. The Brits probably do have another 35 at least, so they do have more than 100, certainly more than 100 dockyards under their control, plus Mexico, plus Canada, plus etc, etc. While we only have 60, so they probably do have twice as much capacity to build up ships than we do, and they do start out with a lot more ships. In particular, right now, the US, even after losing more than 50-60 ships, they still do at least have about 300 ships. 300 ships. I estimate that about maybe a third, maybe a half of them are submarines, but that still leaves a lot of room for destroyers and capital ships. Likewise, the Brits do have another, let's call it 100, 200, pretty much 200 midpoint of this range, 200 ships. So we are still severely outnumbered. It was a great victory. I think in terms of production cost, we can estimate that very roughly that they lost about, let's call that 30,000, another 30,000, so 60,000, 110,000 industrial points all in all, whereas we lost 20,000, 25,000, 30,000, so 30 to 110. Yeah, they lost 3 to 4 times as much as we did. That battle has been happening right here, right next to Guam, and I think it has been happening as we are landing, as we were landing our forces in Guam. So let's see what we can do now. Let's formulate our strategy and see what we can do about that. I think the most important bit is we noticed 3 American carriers and a heavy cruiser, I think, or a battleship even, running away from us, and they were the last remnants of that fleet. And we know they must be around here. I think in fact we do see them being spotted, or being in the process of being spotted over here by our forces. Still, it would probably take too long. Can I get an infographic on that? I cannot. So, I think it would be extremely important for us, given the Allied naval supremacy, to try and defeat these forces once and for all. They are vulnerable now. They don't have any screening forces. We sunk all of their destroyers. We sunk all of their light cruisers. They're extremely vulnerable. And we did see that our torpedo tactic did work out towards the end of the last battle. So when our light cruisers were not engaging their light cruisers or light ships anymore, but when they were actually firing at the heavy ships and they didn't have any screens. So I think the Americans, now that they lost over here, and some of them are heavily damaged, they will be trying to return to Pearl Harbor in the Hawaiian region over here in Honolulu. So for that reason, I think we want to intercept them on their way there and maybe sink them. We'll have to see whether that works out, but that I think is the most important aspect that we can do. Right now we do have 2 major battle fleets. That's the Kido Butai and the 1st Heavy Scout Force. Kido Butai including 3 battleships now, down from 4 unfortunately, and the Heavy Scout Force are down to 2 heavy battle cruisers, down from 4. They are a little bit damaged, 97%, 90%, but I think it's alright if we keep them on for now. However, especially the Heavy Scout Force formation over here needs to be replenished a little bit on light forces. We have quite a lot of heavy ships now, 2 carriers, 2 battle cruisers, 3 heavy cruisers, but only 3 screening ships, and I like to have at least a 1-to-1 ratio, and probably should even be higher than that. Unfortunately, we don't have that many light ships around, so I think what we actually need to do is split off a couple of ships from our torpedo cruisers over here. So we are going to pick, let's say, 5 torpedo cruisers, going to form a new task force from that, and going to ask that to be merged with the heavy scout formation. So that's a more balanced build-up. On the other hand, I do think we can split off this destroyer, because now we have a more uniform force of light cruisers, and I think light cruisers are a little bit more preferable. And what we can actually do is ask these guys to join the torpedo boats. Right, there we go. So, again, on the Kido Butai, most ships are fine except for this one. We'll ask that guy to split off and repair. Most of these ships are a little bit damaged, but not too badly. All of them do have somewhat low organization, since they are just now coming out of a fight. But all in all, I think we will be alright. At least we do need to try to capitalize on on the ships that we just sunk. It is a little bit the curse of Japan in that they really, as in real life, they needed to capitalize on the victories very quickly and not lose momentum. So yeah, that's what we are going to try. It might lead to disaster. I certainly do not hope to run into another American battle fleet, because that would be very ill-advised. So, we had battle down here. We expect them to run towards Hawaii, so we are going to set everything to be on the Mariana region, the Eastern Micronesia, the Micronesian Gap, and the Hawaiian Ridge. So, firstly, let's have a look at the first torpedo task force, or the torpedo fleet over here. These guys are maybe mainly patrolling, and that's fine, but I would like you to get into all of these areas. And hopefully that's going to turn out alright. You're patrolling, that's fine. Let's actually ask you to engage even at very high risks, because I would definitely think that we need to be aggressive over here. We do have another strike force up here. That's the Kido Butai and the 1st Heavy Scout Force. And what I'm actually going to do is ask you to not be on a strike profile. And we are actually going to ask these guys to come towards Hawaii. Are you actually traveling here? Are you actually traveling here? You're not. Okay, now you are. Right, come to Hawaii, and if all fails, we will conduct a port strike over here. And you know what? They are actually not traveling via the Micronesian Gap. That's interesting. They would be traveling via the Western Emperor chain. I'm not sure that's really the best idea, but we'll have to see. On the air side, we are going to ask our naval bombers to be very active. We are actually going to ask these naval bombs down here to join their brothers in the Micronesian Gap. It's not the best coverage, but at least we're going to try to intercept some enemy over there. And that should hopefully be fine. I also do think that we do have a window of opportunity here while the American fleet is weak. So we are going to try to pick our get our Marines. Actually, ask them to stop this, because this thing here has happened already. And ask them to start a naval invasion from somewhere over here, and I don't even care where, towards Johnston Island. So that might, if we do capture Wake, Midway Island, and Johnston Island, or Johnston Atoll, we would have Pearl Harbor pretty much isolated. The Americans would not have any presence in the Central Atlantic anymore, so that would be very nice, I think, and indeed something that I would very, very much appreciate. Let's also make sure that we are attacking here in force if we are. And we're going to pick that last gentleman over here and send it towards this invasion as well. We haven't started this invasion yet, but we might very well as soon as we do get more naval coverage over here. Speaking of the Navy, we should also take a look at our other groups. So we do have the landing support group over here, which does currently operate in these regions. I would actually like these guys to patrol. And we're gonna ask to add the Micronesian Gap and even Hawaii. Can we add that? I think we should withdraw Hawaii, but just patrol in this region. In Micronesian Gap, Eastern Micronesia, West Emperor chain. Because they might be traveling over there. It's going to be risky, but we have to see about that. We also have our submarines, and they are currently convoy raiding. I would actually not like you to be convoy raiding. I would actually like you to patrol over here and find the enemy and actually engage them even at high risks. It's not the best. It's not the only thing that we can do, but it's a good thing at least, so I think that's going to be alright. I'm also going to take one of our anti-submarine warfare missions and going to temporarily assign it towards the landing support group so that we have more coverage in this region to potentially find the enemy. We do have some things going for us. We do have a very well established radar network, which we should see at the construction menu. There we go. So yeah, we have covered this area pretty well. We are now building up some things down here in Sri Lanka. But yeah, okay, so that's very good. There are also some things going strongly against us. And the most important of that is fuel consumption. We only have fuel for 80 days left now, and the Soviet Union has actually justified war against us, so they might declare war on us any time. They haven't yet, though, so I think what we do need to do is we will simply need to get more oil, and they are probably one of the very few sources for oil that we can currently access. Manchukuo actually as well. I didn't even realize these guys had oil. But they do. Lovely. Huh. Well, that was stupid. Okay. Nevertheless, we are going to also ask the Soviet Union to deliver oil to us. And we're going to ask them for a lot. So, I actually think 88 fuel would be lovely. That is a very vulnerable line for us. And we do have to take into account that the enemy is using submarines quite strongly. But it's the only thing that we can do right now. Good. What are you doing? You should be patrolling. Okay. I think it's time to restart the battle. Let's, the war actually, and see whether we can find any enemies. So we do have one naval combat over here. I think it's just against submarines here. So some of our destroyers are working against enemy submarines, and that's fine. We also apparently do have low supplies in some of these theaters. Oh well. I think that's probably going to go away at some point. Where are you going? Okay, so you're the Kiributai, the slightly slower force. We've spotted an enemy navy down here. Well, we do have a couple of heavy cruisers, so that's alright. And we've actually... Ooh, very lovely. Good. Very, very good. So our naval bombers striking from... I don't know from where you were striking, but you did manage to sink actually the USS Saragota, so another carrier sunk. That's pretty lovely. It might have been the one that was damaged. I didn't take sufficient note of that, but still, that's an extremely good result for us. Absolutely no doubt about that. Why are you doing convoy escorts? Oh, okay, because you were still being told that I actually wanted to patrol. And that now apparently did tell us that there was a battleship in this region. Yeah, so we do have these carriers in the region, and we should be able to spot them very soon, actually. They are over here, indeed. Nationalist Spain joined the Axis. That's extremely good for us, actually. So we know now that the enemy ships are here. Do we know where they are traveling? I think they are actually traveling through the eastern Micronesian region. So that means we can ask all of these patrol craft to ignore the West Emperor chain. Will we get another battle down here? Now what we could actually do is ask our naval craft to also join the naval strikes in this region. And hopefully conduct some strikes over here. And we entered battle. Extremely good force. Very, very good force. There's the USS Chester, which has very, very low strength. And there is the Yorktown and Lexington, both of which are damaged. Again, some of our ships are damaged, and we have extremely low screening value over here. 7 screening ships can effectively screen for up to 1 ship. Ha! So that's very bad for us. We do have too many carriers over here, but I'm not too concerned about that. Because, yeah, we are actually dealing some heavy damage against the Lexington. You can see it drop down in its percentage over there. We actually sunk the Chester. And we might very well... Oh, very heavy damage on the Yorktown by naval bombers. Quite a bit. By light guns, by heavy guns. And I think at the 4th hour we might actually see the torpedo damage coming in. Come on. Not torpedo damage yet, but another carrier sunk. Light guns, heavy guns, and naval bombardments. So, torpedoes, there we go. First torpedo damage. The Lexington is only now trying to run away, and it didn't. So we managed to sink the Lexington, the Yorktown, and the heavy cruiser. And you know what, guys? That makes me actually an extremely happy bunny. So, that is fantastic for us. That's a very excellent and very, very good result. So, yeah, overall this battle down here, extremely good for us. So, let's briefly check on our naval invasions then and see whether we might be able to conduct any strike very soon. You guys are very low on organization, so I'm slightly concerned about that. By the way, you can see a lot more fuel coming in now. So we are producing about, how much? Daily gain? Yeah, 30,000. But it's costing us. It's costing us the ability to produce a lot of things at the same time. So that is somewhat unfortunate. There's an American fleet down here, which I'm concerned about. Okay, so what's our next plan? I think our plan will continue to be to do a strike on Pearl Harbor with our carriers. Catch them while they are weak, and then what we will do is try to gain some of these footholds down here, in particular Wake, Midway, and Johnston Island. Right now we don't really have the forces though. A lot of them are still coming into position, so that is a concern to me. I should also, by the way, check on the production over here, because we are now using more naval bases to support our production of these things. And since that is going to happen very soon, I think it would be very prudent to start more for production down here. Can I actually ask you guys to start down here? Okay, so yeah, all in all the plan was to continue to build our ships until November, but that might have to wait a second over here. Good, okay, all in all we can stick to this plan, except maybe we should, come on, so you guys are all patrolling over here. You don't actually need to do that, so let's remove that region and add the West Emperor chain, so that we can actually continue our strikes down here. You are not gaining organization extremely quickly, are you? Italy has called in these forces, nationalist Spain, so that's good. It's not particularly the most important, but still it's nice. Also the Germans are still battling down here. Let's have a brief view where they are standing in the Soviet Union. Continuing to pushing into the Kolar Peninsula. Good progress over here. Still not quite at Moscow, although I think Legionary Romania has continued to push into the Kursk region and Orel over here. So yeah, the Soviet Union is suffering, but is it suffering enough? American destroyers, submarines are still a big issue for us, and we don't actually have enough steel. Monte-Carlo could be delivering a little bit more, I think. No, it can't. Okay, so you know what, since we are already trading with the Soviet Union, let's give it a little bit more in terms of factories. Of course we are going to accept a good relation with the Soviet Union. By the way, we are also mine laying close to Pearl Harbor, and we have been doing so for a while. This is in low supply, really. Why are you in low supply? Is that because we are producing stuff in Saipan? Repairing stuff in Saipan, which we should probably not do then. Can we actually click, right click, try repair, medium, high, medium. Okay, Taiwan we will tell to be on a high priority. And since that is going to take some while anyway, we could actually move you to Tokyo, which is what state? Well, probably one of these. East Tibai? No. Marshall Islands? No. Come on, what's that state called? Kanto. Okay, so Naval Periphery, yeah, Kanto. Let's move it down there. Hopefully that means you'll be moving out of over here. Yeah, and you are, so that's good. Right. Enemy has air superiority in northern India, naval combat in the Yellow Sea. Our submarines, no. Their submarines trying to sink, that's alright. Coast of Japan, naval combat, probably the same thing. Yeah, and we actually spotted a submarine, so that's good. We also completed our national focus to fortify the border with the Soviet Union of Manchukuo, so that's good. We might go into modern escorts, that wouldn't be bad, because we do need some things over there. Warrior Spirit for kamikaze strikes. Interesting, but not too important right now. So I'm somewhat tempted to pick naval production simply for more dockyard output. Although helping Manchukuo a little bit more I think would also be helpful. You know what, let's give them a couple of military factories because I think they have pretty much none. Let's briefly check that. So details. Military factories 5. We'll be gaining 2 more, so that's 40%. So yeah, I think that's certainly something that we can do. Good. So how does it look in terms of these guys? Your organization, it's still so low. Can you gain any new capabilities here? No. And I think even on our strike groups we saw that just a little bit more experience and you'd be good. Just maybe we're gonna get enough from striking the enemy over here. We're actually gaining some fuel now, which is lovely to see. And our heavy forces are coming towards Hawaii, so that is nice to see. Spotted enemy navies. So in principally, Fall of Gibraltar, okay, so that's lovely, because that will also hamper the British efforts to resupply India. It means they basically have to go through around all of Africa, so that's a very nice development over there. Good, but let's continue to look at this fleet down here, because I don't know what it is. And it's certainly very interesting to see what that is. We also found assigned divisions. What are you? Just sort of a generic division. Can we place you in the... What the hell? Wait. Third Army? Okay, no, you should be good in the Third Army. I saw... I thought for a second there that we had been losing a lot of stuff. Right, how's that battle going? Oh, we didn't sink that submarine. That's unfortunate. Right, so... What type of fleet do we have? Where was that actually? Are we still seeing that? I don't think we are. So we've probably lost all contacts on that particular fleet. Which also probably means it wasn't the largest fleet. Yeah, still, we are moving into a position over here, so that is good to see. And the time is not advancing because I stopped it, apparently. Still losing out a little bit on steel production, but we will see. Good. Your organization is starting to run extremely low. And we will need to take care of that very soon. Let's see, how far would you reach? Not far enough. So we would actually probably need to be over here in this sea zone. One of our strike groups is a little bit slower than the other one, so that's unfortunate. Not the end of the world, really. And let's keep on checking on these marines down here. Yeah, so I think you should actually go ahead with that plan. Can we actually click to activate the execution, shift click and then click the desired to toggle execution? So okay, shift click, this one, go ahead. Yeah, there you go, lovely. Because I really don't think that the Americans do have enough power to stop that invasion, and it would be really, really good for us to do that. Right, here we go. 100 naval bombers. Let's do a strike. Not a naval strike, a port strike onto Hawaii. And we are gonna ask all of our fighters to support that with an superiority mission. Let's see how well that turns out. If there is anything in there at all. So we're only doing that during the day, and there comes the daylight. So we should soon see, hopefully, a naval strike on Pearl Harbor. There we go. What have they got over here? They have a battleship, the USS Arkansas, and they do have 2 submarines. Okay, I'm willing to take a couple of more missions to maybe take out Arkansas. We also should check these things. Just a couple of convoys. Not too important though. So last time we were bombarding the British forces in port, and they were really a little bit slower. A lot of forces in eastern Micronesia, and they seem to have capital ships included, but we are not quite sure about the composition of these ships. 1 combat result. Not too drastic. Alright, port strike results. Another 4% damage on that ship, so that's okay. But down here, what have we really got? What's going on there? More naval results. Yeah, that's lovely. Good stuff. Spotted enemy ships. Spotted enemy ships down here. We don't know what these types of ships are. They are about 6 ships, about 2 capital ships, but it could be 0. So yeah, we really don't know. If it was 6 ships, of which 1 is a capital ship, I would be extremely interested in that. 10% of USS Arkansas. So it's down to 60%, which is a very significant win. I mean, even if we do not win over there, I mean, even if we don't sink it, we will certainly put it out of commission for months at end, so that already is pretty good to me. How are things going? Have we concluded our naval strike? No, you're just coming in. Oh, you're not going to Wake. Yeah, you're going to Wake, sorry. You're not going to Midway. I thought for some reason that you might be. Good, come on. Sink USS Arkansas. Right now, we are really happy that the American presence down here is very, very weak. Oh, we actually sunk a submarine. Lovely. Good. We should also shift you guys back to the Bismarck Sea. Do you have a couple of naval invasions going down there? But that's alright. Another 10% of USS Arkansas, so it's down to 50% or so. Come on, I think we can actually accelerate it a little bit. Although that does mean jumping around quite a bit. 1% damage on us by a couple of enemy aircraft. So they are striking back now, and we'll have to be mindful of that. Port strike, 4.5%. 50%. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to sink it. There seem to be a lot of diminishing returns as you bombard enemy ships. I also put in another destroyer over here. Yeah, that's down to 1%. I really don't know what's going on. Eastern Micronesia, your bases are on low supply. Why though? And we did capture Midway. So yeah, that's lovely. Let's delete this mission then. That means we do have more guys down here. And what we might actually do with you is we are going to ask you to prepare for a naval invasion from here towards some of these British-held islands. Because I would really like to reduce the enemy capabilities of waging war down here. So you might strike from here. What's the next island? That's fine, and then we are going to ask one of you to strike from here, let's say, towards that island. Good. Looks a little bit chaotic, but I don't think it really is. And all in all, it should be fine. Come on, do give me more and better naval strikes on Pearl Harbor. 5% of USS Nevada, and there are a lot more ships. Look at that. So there is another carrier, the USS Essex. There are 3 heavy cruisers, including USS Augusta. There are 43 destroyers. You know, that's what I mean. And 7 battleships, including USS Nevada. This is an amazingly large fleet. Just look at all the stuff the Americans have. And you know what? That makes me frightened, because I don't think there are 7 battleships in that alone, and battleships did prove to be extremely dangerous towards us. So I would love to stay here and conduct a huge strike on them, but I'm really afraid. I'm considerably afraid. Okay, I'm gonna wait for one more day. I'm just gonna... We're not doing... okay, no, this is the Americans striking us. God, I'm so nervous. If they come out, we'll be screwed. So I don't want to stay here for too long, but we are gonna wait for one more naval strike on the port to see. With all of these ships there, that's a very target-rich environment, and I would like to conduct a strike against that. We also have laid quite a couple of mines over here, so that's pretty good for us. Come on. Okay, so now it's night. I don't think we are going to get another strike. So we, in fact, are going to pull back towards Truk. I don't really want to risk it. A couple of submarines up over here. That's alright. And some naval results down here. There's a couple of things. That's not too drastic. Yeah, and now the Americans are showing up here in more force with naval bombers. So, yeah, let's get out of here. I don't think that's too helpful for us. Interestingly enough, there's an American submarine fighting off against our torpedo cruisers, which unfortunately don't really have any capacity to deal with naval submarines, with enemy submarines. So yeah, that's something that we do need to keep in mind. Okay, you know what? You shift click, that click. Okay, you can't start that yet because probably of the preparation time. Right. At any rate, our ships are retreating. So really, the Battle of... what was it? The Battle of Guam is over. We did manage to sink a lot of enemy ships, but really it's not enough. The Americans still have so much capabilities. What's that? What's this down here? Look at that. Okay, it's not quite over. Not yet. Let's move over here into the Micronesian Gap. And then... come on, do get into this field, please. It's 1 battleship over here, or 2 ships, including 1 battleship. I want to pick all of our naval bombers and do port strikes over here. Let's see whether anything good comes out of that. There we go, port strikes. 1% of USS Arkansas. Really, Arkansas has moved up. That's very nice of it to come along with us. I still don't want to linger here too long, but especially as we are also getting to the end of this episode. But man, I just feel so tense. But it was a very good turn for us, I do believe. Just 3 carriers sunk. That's pretty darn good. How well are you actually doing? Lacking range. So I think it might actually make more sense to pull our guys over here into this region. Just towards the center. We are dealing more damage to Arkansas though. That is good. That definitely is good for us. Although their convoys really seem to be pretty good at sinking our aircraft, so that's not that great. Why are you guys, by the way, not trying to attack over there, maybe? And we could have one of you, for example, try to close into that gap. Right, so let's see whether that works out. Good. You could also come over here. Actually, no. Good, okay. Lovely. What's that? Naval combat against submarines. Yeah, not Jurassic. Not that important. It would have been so great to sink more enemy ships there, but you know what? I think we are gonna pull back. We are gonna repair our fleets. We are gonna re-establish ourselves. We are gonna continue with the production of our torpedo cruisers. And I do think next time we will talk about, well, at least once we get the advanced centrometric radar, we're going to take our lessons learned from the combat so far. We're going to improve on our ships. We're going to start production of new ships, and we are going to re-engage with the US Navy. Again, a titan. Really, they have so much stuff, but we did manage to make good progress. So do let me know whether you liked all of that. And I see you guys next time around. Bye-bye.